girls, the University of Dar es Salaam launched its merit-based scholarship on February 24, 2020. It covers tuition fees, meals, and accommodation for 50 students with outstanding performance at the advanced level of secondary education in Tanzania. The scholarship is in line with the University of Dar es Salaam corporate social responsibility and the drive for increasing enrollment of female students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Successful candidates register for studies at the University of Dar es Salaam and their constituent colleges, namely the Dar es Salaam University College of Education, DUSE, and Mkoa University College of Education, MUSE, which is located in Iringa. And for the 2021 and 2022 academic year, the scholarship is in favor of 27 female students out of 50, accounting for 50% of 50 recipients. Indeed, the increasing number of female students of diverse cultural and social backgrounds is a testament that the University of Dar es Salaam is an equal opportunity institution of higher learning, committed to a policy of students admission regardless of ethnicity, religion, gender, or physical disability. Ladies and gentlemen, as we proceed with today's program, I feel proud and extremely overwhelmed to be part of this conference. The University of Dar es Salaam SIDA Cooperation Program has been a productive endeavor for over 23 years, since its inception in 1998. The overall objective of the program is to generate sufficient analytical capacity and research-based knowledge and technological innovations with appropriate and immediate valuable outcomes to relevant stakeholders, including policymakers, industry, and civil societies. Ladies and gentlemen, the research and capacity development initiative of this program involves 10 Swedish institutions working with the University of Dar es Salaam, namely Stockholm University, Swedish University of Agriculture and Sciences, Chalmers University of Technology, University of Uppsala, University of Skövde, University of Gothenburg, Royal Institute of Technology, Lund University, Linköping University, and the, I'm sorry for the pronunciation, Your Excellency. The major motivations and research disciplines guiding these programs are food security, sustainable tourism, agribusiness, molecular bioscience, marine sciences, sustainable sanitation, and sustainable water management. Ladies and gentlemen, the University of Dar es Salaam SIDA Cooperation Program aims at enhancing sustainability of strategic research and innovation systems for inclusive development at the University of Dar es Salaam. Sustainability measures include enhancement of analytical capacities and research environment through training of 64 PhDs, 36 masters, and 20 postdoctoral students, and establishing 3 research centers and strengthening existing centers. The program is responsible for increasing the quantity and the quality of postgraduate programs at the University of Dar es Salaam, as well as increasing the amount of research training for development in key strategic priority areas. Ladies and gentlemen, the win-win collaboration with the government of Sweden through the University of Dar es Salaam SIDA Cooperation Program has realized the actual outcomes by improving research management and support systems at the University of Dar es Salaam. Some of the major milestones of the University of Dar es Salaam SIDA Cooperation Program include: 1. Increasing the number of female graduate students who account for 38% PhDs and 32% masters of all students trained and supervised during the capacity building initiative at the University of Dar es Salaam. This percentage of female students is anticipated to increase the inclusion of women to gain access to education and to reduce the gender gap. 2. Students benefiting from SIDA sponsorship have published 218 journal articles in international reputable journals. Academic staff have also published 87 journal articles in international peer-reviewed journals. The current status shows that 12 out of 24 University of Dar es Salaam journals are considered as international journals and accepted for indexing by Brill, EBSCO, Sabine, Economies, AfriBib, and Agile. At least 91.6% of the journals are accessible online, indicating an increase in the visibility of the University of Islam publications. 3. So far, 567 and 832 full-text e-journal articles have been downloaded from 2015 to 2021, which is 113% of the targets of 500,000 downloads. The journals encompass management, computing, engineering, and library and information sciences, business, social sciences, and science, technology, and medicine, and humanities. 4. Enhancement of research infrastructure by procuring state-of-art research equipment utilized by more than 65 researchers, conducted 54 cases of scientific data analysis. And 5, consolidating and integrating various components of the research management information system with the other University of the Islam systems. Since its inception, RMIS has 584 registered projects with a total value of 166.4 billion shillings, equivalent to 616.3 million SEK. The system has increased effective monitoring of research funding, online applications, and submission of grant research proposal. Let me take this opportunity before I wind up, invite His Excellency, the Swedish Embassy, to say a few words to the conference participants. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. Honorable Minister of Industry and Trade, Professor Kitila Mkumbu, Permanent Secretary of the Minister for Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Leonard Akwilapo, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable Members and Representatives of the House of Representatives in Zanzibar, UDSM Vice Chancellor, Professor William Anna Gizie, Chairperson and Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Bernadetta Killian, members of staff of the University of Dar es Salaam, representatives from civil society organizations, students, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Habari za asubuhi. I would like to start with to congratulate the University of Dar es Salaam on its 60th anniversary. Hongera sana for this great achievement. And I'm very proud to say that we have for a long time been part of this journey, and I will come back a little bit to that later. This is the third annual conference on research and inclusive development, and I'm very honored to be part of it again. Research cooperation between our two countries started a long while back. It's actually 45 years ago, and has since then evolved through a multitude of phases, from minor support to research council to individual research projects, and lately to support the construction of Tanzania's research and innovation system, including university support and SIDA-funded regional research programs covering areas from forestry to marine sciences. Because of our long-term cooperation, and as we have heard from the Vice Chancellor, human capacity has increased and created a wealth of invaluable knowledge benefiting both our countries. In Tanzania, more than 1,000 researchers have been trained through Swedish support and continue to publish, as we have heard, relevant studies which have a positive impact on Tanzania's poverty alleviation, growth, and her path to prosperity. And a big range of Swedish researchers have also benefited tremendously from this collaboration. Honorable guest of honor, the theme of this conference is harnessing research and innovation for sustainable and inclusive development in Tanzania. The human curiosity to understand and explore our surroundings is at the heart of all development. Without research, our world would look dramatically different. The value of the results from research is vast, from advising policy to the creation of innovative ideas and business startups, leading to more jobs, increased wealth, and as well as improving public health and education. Sweden supports research capacity building in Tanzania to create sustainable, self-generating research environments that will not only reduce poverty and bring prosperity, but also lay the foundation for every person's right and opportunity to pursue a life of autonomy and choice. The majority of society must be able to benefit from all the important research that is executed, and therefore increasing collaboration between researchers, policymakers, private companies, CSOs, and society at large is the responsibility of us all, which is why opportunities for dialogue, like we see here today, are so important to create these necessary linkages between academia and real-world applications in industry, policy, and legislation. So our research partners are the University of Dar es Salaam, Ardi University, Muhimbili University for Health and Applied Sciences, more popularly known as MUHAS, and Tanzania Commission for Science and Technology, COSTECH, and some are, as we have heard, present here today. They have all made substantial research advancements that have gone on to affect several policies, guidelines, and procedures. And I stand here before you feeling proud of the supporting role of Sweden and what we have played in making all this possible. Honorable guest of honor, the research output in terms of the numbers of peer-reviewed scientific publications is ever increasing. We have heard the numbers. I understand there are more than 2,000 scientific papers that have been published as a result of our bilateral research collaboration. I would like to mention a few and highlight a few examples that have had consequential effects on Tanzanian society. Marine science research has contributed to the growth of the seaweed farming industry and given support to small business firms, which have benefited thousands of people, especially women, in Zanzibar and improved their livelihood. Research in renewable energy has led to the growth of solar energy, even in the most remote areas in Tanzania, providing electricity to people who do not have access to the national grid. And research in molecular biosciences has resulted in adopting mushroom as a strategic crop for improved livelihood in Tanzania. And today I understand there are more than 5,000 mushroom farmers. The recently launched book Sustainable Tourism Development that was on display here in one of the stalls has already been picked up by the industry and will likely influence the tourism sector for many years to come. I will stop here. We have a lot of wonderful exhibitions out there, and I'm sure there will be more examples to come. But these are some very remarkable achievements in our collaboration. Honorable guest of honor, investment in research pays off. The challenges we are facing today are complex and global, and they demand action. We need knowledge to find the right solutions, and we need to ensure that we have the, including university support and CEDA-funded we have the correct tools to implement them. An important part of a vibrant research system is to provide funding for research. And when the government of Tanzania in 2010 decided to fund research through the National Fund for Advancement of Science and Technology, NFAST, Sweden also decided to support COSTECH to strengthen its capacity to make open calls for competitive research grants. Groundbreaking research cannot be produced without substantial and sustainable funding. Between 2015 and today, Sweden has committed more than $40 million to research in Tanzania, and we will continue to support Tanzania in its effort to upgrade its human resources and strengthen its research and innovation environment. And we will also continue to support universities and other research institutions as they continue to evolve and increase their operational efficiency. It is my sincere hope that the government of Tanzania will be encouraged to continue increasing its financial support towards research and third cycle education for long-run sustainability. As a representative of a feminist government, I was very delighted to hear the figures, the pickup here in number of female students and researchers. So hongera sana on these amazing achievements. And it's so important that we have a good mix of men and women and people that are coming from all different walks of lives. It's about, we call it about the 3 R's. We talk about equal access to rights, equal access to resources, and equal access, equal representation in university and in society at large. So it's very promising to learn about these figures, and of course this will continue to build up. Honourable Guest of Honour, the purpose of our research cooperation has always been and remains to be to enhance Tanzania's capacity to plan, conduct and use research to fight poverty and secure a prosperous future. I'm sure that academic research output and policy briefs that will be presented here today will enlighten and spark amongst us all innovative and informed ideas for growth, industry and trade. And I would like to thank the more than 200 PhD students that have graduated from our collaboration, the more than 100 PhD students that are currently studying, and the more than 700 master graduates and other current students, both here and in Sweden, whose hard work and collaboration over the years and continue to contribute and to strengthen the skills, knowledge and research capacities of Tanzania, of Sweden and beyond. Finally, I would like to end by extend my deepest condolences to the Institute of Marine Sciences following the devastating fire at Mizingani campus in Stone Town last month. It is my hope that you will be able to soon recover and to restore the labs and the offices back to their original operational conditions. Penny Nia Pana Njia Tusita Fute Njia Pamoja. Asanteni sana kwa kunisikiliza.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I welcome Dr. Leonard Akwilapo, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, kindly allow me to say a few words about him. Dr. Akwilapo was a member of the staff at our College of Natural and Applied Sciences, and is one of our alumni who are now serving in the central government. We are very grateful for his commitment to the University of Dar es Salaam. And he's there actually to ensure that the University of Dar es Salaam thrives and prospers. With those few remarks about him, it is my honor to welcome Dr. Akwilapo to address the audience, and thereafter invite our guest of honor to speak and open the conference. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Professor Anangisya. Honorable Professor Kitila Mkumbo, Member of Parliament for Ubungo and Minister of Industry and Trade, Your Excellency Ambassador Anders Sjöberg, Ambassador of Sweden to Tanzania, Professor Anangisya, Vice Chancellor, University of Dar es Salaam, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Professor Kilian and Professor Mfinanga, Honorable Members of Parliament and members of the House of Representatives, if you are here, Principals and Deans from the University, Senior Government Officials from various ministries and institutions. I can see Director of Science and Technology in our ministry, Professor Kipanyula, Director of COSTECH, Dr. Amos Nungu, and maybe there will be others, but I have not managed to see them. But all of you, I recognize your presence. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Distinguished guests and conference participants, first of all, I would like to thank our Almighty God for enabling me to stand before you today at this important opening ceremony of the 3rd Annual Conference on Research and Inclusive Development. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to convey the cordial greetings from our Minister, Honorable Professor Joyce Lazaro Ndalichako, Minister for Education, Science and Technology. She wanted very much to be part of this conference today, however, she could not make it because of other equally pressing government obligations. And as I'm speaking here now, the Honorable Minister is in Cairo, accompanying Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, who is in a state visit of Egypt. Distinguished guests, conference participants, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, I would like to start by thanking our friends, the government of Sweden, through the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, SIDA, and all the Swedish higher learning institutions for their continued commitment to support our education and research agenda in the country. Indeed, the support that we have been offering is very significant in our desire to harness research and innovation for sustainable and inclusive development, which after all is the theme of this August conference. I'm pleased to note that the theme of this conference, Harnessing Research and Innovation for Sustainable and Inclusive Development in Tanzania, is in line with the 3rd National 5-Year Development Plan, running from 2021-2022 to 2025-2026, whose theme is Realizing Competitiveness and Industrialization for Human Development. Among other things, the plan puts a special emphasis on research and innovation as drivers of competitiveness in building an industrialized nation. The plan also indicates clearly that the government of the United Republic of Tanzania will continue to invest heavily in education and development infrastructures, among others, to generate more skilled professionals at all levels in line with the needs of the public as well as the private sector. Distinguished guests, our 6th government under the leadership of Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan is committed to continue to strengthen and promote the use of research, technology and innovation to safeguard and improve the livelihood of all Tanzanians. I'm informed that this year's conference and exhibitions, just like the previous ones, has drawn scholars, scientists, academicians, development partners, policymakers, and other stakeholders from within and also outside of the country. Such a diverse group of participants offers a platform for stakeholders to come together, discuss, share, and exchange scientific knowledge that will eventually improve research and innovation practices to foster the nation's inclusive development. Scientific knowledge exchange in this kind of a gathering helps the government to make informed and timely decisions that will eventually transform lives of millions of our people. So the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology hopes that stakeholders present will make maximum use of this opportunity to discuss research findings and outcomes generated over the last year, and most importantly, deliberate on how such findings can be deployed to enhance prosperity in our country. The government, through our ministry, has an ambition to ensure that researchers and innovators benefit from their research results and innovations. And on behalf of the government, I would like to assure you that we will continue to support your research and innovation endeavors to the best of our ability. As such, I would like to encourage researchers and innovators to work hard And let me once again reassure you that the 65th government, under the leadership of our president, will recognize and embrace the fruit of your efforts and hard work. Let me take this opportunity again to pay great tribute to the Swedish government for the great support that they extended to our higher learning institutions, research initiatives. Ska jag säga tusen tack? Tusen tack. And tusen tack till alle. Sida and alle vänner i Sverige. That is Swedish, for those who know. And after those few remarks, may I now cordially invite the guest of honor, Honorable Professor Kitila Mkumbo, MP Ubungo, and the Minister of Trade and Industry and Trade, to come now to address this gathering. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa.
Honorable Dr. Leonard Akulapo, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, my dear friends, members of Parliament, and members of the House of Representatives, thank you very much for being here. Your Excellency Ambassador Anders Sjöberg, the Swedish Ambassador in Tanzania, thank you for being here. We were together yesterday again on a similar event when we had the Vice President officiating at the 25th Research Workshop of REPOA. Professor William Anangise, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, and the Deputy Vice Chancellors, I recognize the presence of Professor Benedetta Killian, I think the second Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, the second female Deputy Vice Chancellor after Professor Mlama. So we are we're talking about 47% of female enrollment, but I think in terms of leadership we are still lagging behind. This is the only second female Deputy Vice Chancellor in 60 years. I hope we can do better than that. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. Utafiti oye. That's the only way you can show now a politician is speaking and this academic. Thank you very much for your kind invitation and for giving the opportunity to be the guest of honor in this very important research workshop. I'm deeply honored, I must say, and many thanks for choosing Dodoma as the venue for your conference. This is very good for the government. I particularly commend you for your decision to invite some of the policymakers to be part of this conference. I hope in future you will also be able to invite some industrialists so that when we talk about industry academic connection, they can also be here to share their own experiences. Because when I visited them, these industries and businesses, one of the comments they make is that why can't universities invite us to give visiting lectureship to share with them our experience on how we are doing. So these wealth people, the kind of Mo Dewey and the others, at least you are engaging Mo Dewey very closely, told me. So that is one of their pleas, that can we be inviting them to share, how they made to where they are with your students, and that way be able to connect what we do in universities and classrooms and what is happening in our industries. And I hope that your deliberations during this conference will reflect the nature of the audience so that all participants are able to follow the deliberations successfully. You have invited policymakers and the other non-academic audiences, and I hope that the deliberations reflect that, so that you are not going to be too academic in your presentation, so that non-academic members of the committee will also be able to follow. And thank you very much for choosing, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for choosing Kimara as one of your areas to provide that corporate social responsibility assistance. And you know why I'm mentioning Kimara. It is always very good to be back home, and you know, so I feel nostalgic when I'm speaking here because it reminds me of my days of standing in the podium, but that time not as a guest of honor, you know, as a fellow member of academic, maybe presenting a paper or answering a question and so on. So thank you again for inviting me. I would like to thank the government of Sweden through the Swedish International Development Corporation, as well as the various Swedish higher education institutions for their support and the collaboration with the University of Dar es Salaam in organizing this conference, but also in putting together the research program that has brought you here. Special, of course, I must mention this, special appreciation to Dr. Latifa Mbelwa. I don't know where she is. Good. And I'm mentioning her because she worked very in terms of the logistics and in ensuring that I was able to be the guest of honor. I think she wrote countless emails and made numerous calls to ensure that all appropriate participants were here, including myself. So I think it is important to recognize those small efforts that make things happen. Tanzania and Sweden, ladies and gentlemen, as we know, have enjoyed cordial political, economic, and social relations for many years. And some writers have dated as far back as 1962. Some of them will say as far back as 1961. Some of them 1964. But the most important thing is that our relationship with Sweden has been for many years, and it has always been very friendly. The Swedish government has been with us even when we have had very difficult times. You remember when we were almost isolated because of us following our socialist policies, Sweden government remained with us during that difficult time. So thank you very much. And of course, some of you may have read that a 2016 study revealed that between 1962 and 2013, Swedish aid to Tanzania amounted to 7 billion USD, which by then was the biggest contribution by all the development partners. Thanks to Barbara Johnson, a Swedish-born Tanzanian citizen whose mission work in Tanzania, apart from the ideological ties. So our relationship was, of course, ideological because of Mwalimu Nyerere's Ujamaa policies, but you should also remember it is personal because of the connection that Barbara Johnson made, who was a missionary here, first a Swedish missionary, later she took Tanzanian citizenship. She even became member of parliament for Mwanza constituency. I don't know if how many of you know about that. In 1959. It is this lady that made it possible for Tage Erland, the then Swedish Prime Minister, and Ulla Landröm, the then Minister responsible for aid, to have an eye in Tanzania. So in a Nordic conference, there was a discussion, and the Nordic countries, Nordic committees of ministers for the coordination of help to developing countries, were organizing an initiative in the area of education, and they were looking for a suitable African country. In that discussion, the conclusion was that country should be Tanganyika. So again, we are very pleased and very happy that our relationship continues up to date. One area that the Swedish Tanzania Development Corporation has been very notable is in the area of research. It is difficult, for example, to talk about research development at the University of Dar es Salaam mentioning or making reference to Swedish Tanzania Development Corporation. I think the Vice Chancellor put it very well, that the University of Dar es Salaam research development will not be as it is today without the contribution of the Swedish Development Corporation. and of course the Vice Chancellor also mentioned that one, that a sizable proportion of academics who are in this room are beneficiaries of this cooperation in one way or the other, whether through training or research support. I must declare personal interest here that I'm one of such beneficiaries. My master degree study program, as the Vice Chancellor mentioned, was funded through a Sidasarek scholarship program. This is the scholarship that opened doors for my academic career my academic career, and it definitely contributed and made a significant contribution to who I am today. Maybe without that scholarship, I would have not been able to pursue my master's degree. And of course, by then, you would only receive that scholarship if you had a potential of becoming an academic member of staff of University of Dar es Salaam. So once you get that scholarship, you know that you are on your way to joining an academy if you do it well. So again, thank you very much, because not just to this country, but you have made very personal contribution to some of us. Congratulations all. I was looking at your program conference. I note one major, something that is new. This time you have also included, apart from the book of abstract, you have also included policy briefs. I think this is something new. Previously, we only used to publishing books of abstract. Now you're also including policy briefs. I think that is a very good initiative. And I was perusing through, I noted that at least 2 of the themes are relevant to my Ministry of Industry and Trade. And therefore, thank you very much for also remembering us. The theme of this conference is harnessing research and innovation for sustainable and inclusive development in Tanzania. The theme of the conference is very timely in many ways, but 2 of them are very important. First, it reflects the importance and role of research in socio-economic development. And secondly, the theme argues very well with the country's development agenda, which is enshrined in the 5-year National Development Plan 2021-22 to 2025-26. If you read that development plan, research has been highlighted as a very important tool to ensure that we are able to achieve the milestones that are enshrined in that particular document. Evidence about the role of research in national development is now very clear. In a knowledge-based economy, a nation's prosperity is largely determined by the level at which the country embraces knowledge generation. The kind of a society provides a base of economic prosperity and social inclusion. This needs a persistent and long-term focus on quality research and innovation. To reach this level, we need a society that is facilitated to demand and celebrate the highest standards of excellence in research, education, and training. I'm talking about creating a society based on meritocracy. Without research, that is not possible. Furthermore, the link between the level of economic development and research outputs is very clear. This morning I was perusing the 2 types of data, looking at the top economies on the basis of GDP, and I was also looking at the top contributors to scientific research globally. Of the top 10 economies, 7 are also top in the share of scientific research. This is very important. If you look at the top economies globally, you mentioned US, China, Japan, Germany, India, United Kingdom, France, and the others. 7 of those will also be top in the contribution to scientific research. I also looked at Africa. Of the top African economies, Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, Algeria, Morocco, Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Tanzania. Again, 7 of those are also top contributors of scientific research within the realm of Africa. Talking about South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, Cameroon, Ethiopia, Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, Tunisia. Sadly, Tanzania misses in the top 10 contributors to scientific research in Africa. It is therefore very clear that we will be successful in achieving our national development agenda when we are able to appropriately appreciate, embrace, and develop the relationship between research and innovation. In this regard, universities have a special role to play as the leaders of research. The government is a leader in the socio-economic development process. Universities are leaders in research, innovation, training, and education. It is in university that we find some of the best brains in the country. As such, you must take leadership in the pursuit of high-quality research for innovative economy. Universities are also bridges between business and knowledge that is generated in universities. So when we talk about the bridges between industry and academia, the bridge is the universities. Overall, unfortunately, the contribution of Africa to scientific research remains dismal, reflective of the contribution to the global economy. So again, that is piece of research. If you're contributing little to scientific research, research shows that you'll also be contributing little to economic development globally. So if you check of the top 100 contributors of the global scientific research, according to the Nature Index 2020, only South Africa features. So if you just check, you can Google 100 top contributors to scientific research, 100 of them. You have only one African country called South Africa, position number 37. None of other African countries. And even in South Africa, the contribution is only 83.37 points compared to the US, which is number 1, which is 20,192.40. What does it mean? Africa is making a negligible contribution to scientific research, though making more than 10% contribution to the global population. Africa today has the highest population of the young people. It is the most young country, which is supposed to be an asset rather than a problem. So that is key. And therefore, it is my hope that in the course of your deliberations in this workshop, you'll be able to deliberate the strategy that can enhance the Africa. In this regard, Tanzania's contribution to global scientific research. The government of the Republic of Tanzania stands ready to play its rightful role. But again, you have to lead us in that area. You are the ones to lead us to enhance and improve our contribution to global scientific research. Within Africa, first and foremost, we are not among 10. We are actually number 11 when I was checking this morning. And unfortunately, our universities are disappearing from the top league table in the academy. I must tell you this because if I don't say it, no any other politician can tell you this. It is only us who are your colleagues who can tell, because we know what it means. If other politicians come here, you tell them we are the best university, and they will say you are true, but we know you are not. We must enhance our contribution to these things. would like to see University of Dar es Salaam reclaiming its position in Africa. This is extremely important. Some of us feel very sad that where are we when we go through those league tables and we see University of Nairobi, Makerere University, and we don't see our own university, we become sad. But I hope that you guys, through these kind of workshops, you'll be able to deliberate, ensure that we claim back our glory in the contribution to scientific knowledge. Dear participants, we understand that in those endeavors, the government has a special role to play. And we are endeavoring to ensure that the government makes a contribution to that. Number one, the means of education has increased tremendously. Opportunity to access to education at all levels. It is for the first time over the previous 5 years in this country, access to basic education is without a fee. It is unprecedented. And I think that is a very important contribution. I think the government over many years is putting a lot of resources in improving our education infrastructure. We have one of the state-of-the-art libraries in Africa. You may be taking for granted. But that state-of-the-art library, my friend, is a huge contribution of the government of Tanzania. So in terms of infrastructure at all levels, you begin from the lower level all the way to higher education, the government is putting its contribution. We are providing all the necessary facilitative environment for you to be able to pursue your academic work with all the meritocracy that is required. President Samia Suluhu Hassan, one of her biggest agenda is openness. And she said in Nairobi, ninakwenda kuifungua nchi. You must interpret that one broadly. She did not mean kufungua nchi only in business. It is kuifungua nchi in all facets, which means increased academic freedom, increased academic meritocracy, giving you the most appropriate environment to be able to pursue your academic work. So we expect our universities and other higher education institutions to be able to undertake their roles much more proactively, uninterruptedly, and the government will only play its rightful role in terms of providing facilitative environment. We shall never get into the nitty-gritty of what you do, because you are the leaders of research, innovation, education, and training. You know better than us. We expect to learn from you. So I hope that you'll be able to seize the moment provided by Her Excellency in terms of furthering our universities and higher education in general. The other issue that I wanted to highlight, which is a very important aspect in this conference, is the question of industry-academic linkage, which is close to what I do as a Minister of Industry and Trade. This is an important area, and yesterday, Anders will remember, I think one of the areas that was discussed very highly at that particular workshop was this issue. This is an important issue. We believe, and I think evidence also points so, that there must be a linkage between the industry and the academy in practice. So if you go to University of Haifa, the IBM is just at the proximity. University of Haifa is in Israel, which means that IBM uses University of Haifa as its laboratory, and University of Haifa uses IBM as their laboratory. So that is the kind of linkage we are talking about, which is why I was asking our exhibitors, Have you worked with this one? Have you worked with this one? Because if you're doing water resources and you're not connected to our urban water authorities, then that is very much worrying. Because that is where the practice is happening. Because the problem is that our industries, whether you are there or not, they will have to continue operating. If you are there, they will operate much more perfectly. If you are not there, they will continue operating anyway, because they have to operate, but in a very short way. So I think that kind of linkage is important. In the other area that is very much disturbing these days is everybody's talking about, our university's curriculum is outdated. Our education system is failing. The curriculum is not matching with what is happening outside. And I think people are confusing between education and training. We did analysis, I think, a couple of years ago, not more than 5 years ago actually. 2016, 17. There was a very deep analysis about the relevance of the Tanzanian curriculum. And the conclusions were very wanting, which is that in terms of the content, there is nothing really particularly wrong with our curriculum. If there is anything wrong, it is about who teaches our kids and how do we teach them, in what environment. But the contents of the curriculum, and some educationists have claimed that our curriculum in terms of content is one of the very best in Africa compared to some of the very advanced countries. So this is something that our academics must say, so that we don't prescribe a solution to a wrong problem. Giving Panado to malaria. Malaria haitaondoka, itakuwepo tu. So this is critical. The other aspect, we know from the educational point of view, while education is a preserve mainly of education institutions, training is not. Training must be provided collaboratively between our higher education institutions and the employers. The problem with our country and many other countries in Africa is that they have given everything to universities. My friend, there is no any mechanical engineering course in the world which teaches university students how to fix a burst tire. Kwamba tukae tufundishe namna ya kuziba pancha. Hapana. University zifanyi hiyo. University zinafundisha. Hivi kwa nini badala ya kuwa na matairi manne? Kwa nini tusitengeze gari yenye matairi manne peke yake? Matairi mawili peke yake ili tu save cost. Hao ndio wanafunzi wa mechanical engineering watakao watusomee. Hiyo kuziba tairi watafanya kule VETA, no problem. Kwa we cannot blame our universities as failing just because it is not producing students who are not able to fix a burst tire. It is wrong. You are judging a frog for failing to climb a tree. You will fail it outright. So we expect that collaboration, the employers to pick from where the universities have left. What we produce in universities is trainable people. People who can easily master skills and other things. What is difficult is training the thinking. And that is what we do. We do the bigger, difficult part, training our people to think. So we expect our employers to pick up from there so that we work with them to train them to be able to do the do's. Because doing is easier than thinking. Lakini sasa watu wetu wanalalamika kila kitu, universities zimefeli. Kwa hiyo I think you need to really synthesize critically, because I see this debate even in parliament. Kabisa. And because nobody is addressing, sisi wanasiasa kazi yetu ku make decisions. We will make decisions. And we make it say university curriculum imefail. Basi tukisha sema sisi manake imefail inabidi mwangaika. So you have to provide us with that analysis so that we know what is the problem with our education system, so that we are able to prescribe the correct solution. And I'm not at all suggesting that our education system is perfect. I'm just suggesting that any problem that are being talked about, well, they may not be the kind of the solution that we might be prescribing. Kwa hii nilidhani kwamba ni muhimu, and I think that kind of linkage is very. So what I'm suggesting here is that universities must tell us what works, the point of the evidence, so that we use that one to make our decision. I repeat, evidence-based decision making is the best. But decision makers will make decisions anyway, whether there is evidence or no evidence. It is up to you to ensure that decision makers are making decisions on the basis of evidence, which is why I like this kind of interaction, this kind of, when you invite our members of parliament, that is good, because when they go to debate, they what they're talking about, and they may be able to pick up the good solutions. So, the last one, ladies and gentlemen, which is very important. Africa, we pride ourselves very much of the endowment of natural resources, which is a good thing. It is our pride. But research shows clearly that countries that got out of poverty, they are not necessarily countries that were endowed with a lot of natural resources. If natural resources were the basis for wealthy, Israel would be the poorest country in the world today. Basically, Israel owns nothing. They don't have water. They don't have anything beautiful apart from the fact that Jesus was born there. Full stop. Nothing more. But this is one of the most innovative countries, very high in terms of GDP, very high on every positive indicator we're going to choose. I'm repeating again. If natural resources were the basis of wealth, probably Israel would be the poorest country in the world. It is not. Africa is the most endowed country in terms of natural resources. Unfortunately, if you read the map, you look at the poorest continent, it will be in Africa. So how do we get out of that? It is understanding what made other countries go up. It was not natural resources, it was the brain. Which is why the government, and we are doing some analysis, I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, we had a complaint here. Hawa wanasiasa na nini, wasomi wametengwa, hawapo katika nani. But I think that over the past 5-6 years, this country's government, and I'm still doing some analysis, it has engaged our higher education very closely, more than any government in the previous times. Hata sisi tumechukuliwa huko. Tupo wengi. Kuna kipindi when I was katibu mkuu, would sit in what is called the IMTC. IMTC is a Interministerial Technical Committee. Tulikuwa tukikaa tunasema tunaweza kuanzisha fakati yetu hapa. Kwa hivyo from the government point of view, we have no excuse. The government has engaged our universities very closely. Actually, but also in terms of funding, in terms of support. Kwa hivyo, it is up to us to be able to take up our position. I'm in government, I can tell you, the government is very seriously committed. 1, to supporting our universities, and 2, to embracing science, to ensure that we make our decisions on the basis of science. That one I can assure you. So the question will be, do we have the science? The government does not produce science. The government only uses science. Science is produced by you. So make sure you produce science so that we are able to use that evidence in our decision making. We would like to see randomized control kind of research, which tells us if I put A, it works, B does not work. If you continue engaging into this kind of research, perception that determine factors associated, you're not helping us. To be able to make a difference today, my friends, you must engage yourself in serious clinical trials, which they provide solutions, which is why when I was listening to my friends in mathematics, I was always asking him, so what the end result of this? We know why students are failing in mathematics. We know that. So don't tell us factors which cause students to fail in mathematics. We know. Everybody. What we don't know is what could be the solution in our environment. What can we do so that if, despite having a class of 1,000 students, we come up with a solution which will enable us to teach them to be able to succeed. Because you are not going to convince us as a government that, hey, please reduce the size of the classes. You're not going to do that. From political point of view, our students, all of them, they must get into schools. It is up to you. It is up to you to create solutions that are going to enable our students to learn in the environment. How our teachers can successfully teach a large class successfully. And it is possible. So don't bring Western solutions to our African problems. That is where we fail. In Sweden, it is possible to have a class of 5 students. Not possible here. It is not possible. Why? Because our birth rate is very high. So, hapa sisi ukienda Usukumani, mimi natoka Makurumla. Makurumla is one of my wards in Dar es Salaam, in my constituency. It is not unusual to find a family with 20 members. Is that possible in Sweden? It is not possible. So my friends, we must come up with solutions that are African. This is why you are here. Kwa hii ni changamoto ambayo kwa kweli mnayo, and we hope that these kind of conferences and workshops, they will be able to shed lights on how we can improve. I end by repeating again that the government of Her Excellency Princess Suluhu Hassan is very committed to embracing research, to embracing science as the basis of decision making. It is also ready to support our institutions to be able to function normally and optimally. We also look forward to you guys reprospecting for ensuring that you undertake your responsibility actively. We are open for engagement and discussions. We are open for critical questions, critical criticism. That one is okay. And we don't expect when we come to universities to have a similar language that we have in our political cycles. Kwa hiyo pongezi tuacheni sisi ndio kazi yetu kupongeza ili tutunze vio vyetu. Ila nyie tupeni difficult questions that will help us to move forward. Once again, I want to thank you very much for giving me the honor to be the guest of honor in this very important workshop. And I hope that I've given you some food for thought as you discuss various themes and the presentation during the workshop. With those remarks, I now have the pleasure to declare that the 3rd Annual Conference on Research and Inclusive Development is officially opened. Mbarikiwe sana.
Thank you very much, guest of honor, Professor Kitila Mkumbo. I think we have a take-home message that evidence-based decision-making is the best. So we need to do that. Thank you, Prof, for that take-home message. May I now invite Professor Benedetta Killian to really recognize UDism CEDA milestone as we have our graduates there. Please, Prof.
Honorable Minister, guest of honor, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, His Excellency Ambassador PS, Honorable PS, Dr. Akwilapo, the Vice Chancellor, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. When we invite Professor Kitila Mkumbo to our events, we get both praises and criticisms. And I think today he has given us constructive criticism, what we call in Swahili, pia ametupa makavu live, that the University of Dar es Salaam should reclaim its position. We have taken that makavu live very positively. But also he has asked us to produce science, and we leave politics to them. I think we have also taken that very seriously. Having task here is very simple. I'm standing here to recognize some achievements that should not go unnoticed. But let me say that we have this cooperation for about 23 years. Yeah? Oh, okay. Then we should allow the PS to go to attend this meeting. That is chaired by the Prime Minister. And we don't want him losing his job. Thank you very much for coming, PS. So as I stated earlier, I'm here to recognize some milestones, some achievements, some few individuals who have made all this possible. But I must say that this project or this program is long, for about 23 years. So many individuals have actually contributed in one way or another. And it's not easy to recognize everybody. But for today, because this is the phase that has taken place since 2015 to date, for about 6 years, and it's about to end, by the way, in June next year. So we thought, Honorable Guest of Honor, it will be very, very, very important to recognize some of these achievements in front of you. But before I say that, let me recognize the members of Parliament and the members of House of Representatives who are here. If they can stand up and they just wave, please. Thank you very much. I'm told the other members of Parliament will be joining us later after their morning session. But also, I've noticed the presence of Director of National Museum, Dr. Luoga, was seated over there. Where is he? Okay. He's here with us. I see somebody who looks like Director of Elections. Karibu, he had his barakoa on, so I couldn't, tell exactly. I also see Director for Science and Technology from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Okay, karibuni sana. Having said so, let me start by saying that this conference is actually organized in both ways. It's physical, we are here in Dodoma, but it's also virtual, through Zoom meeting. So we have our colleagues, our partners who are in Sweden, who could not join us due to the new normal as a result of COVID-19, but they are following this conference very closely for the 2 days that we are going to be here. So let's recognize their presence. But there are some partners who have been able to attend physically from Sweden. And could you please also stand and wave for those who traveled all the way from Sweden to be with us here? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. As it has been well stated by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, the contribution of this collaboration is massive, and it is actually transformational. And through this, actually Sweden is the leading and the largest funder of research at the University of Dar es Salaam. And if we look at the numbers, just two numbers. For the past 23 years of our cooperation, this cooperation or this partnership has produced a total of 843 postgraduate, graduates over the years. And the majority of these actually belong to the University of Dar es Salaam. For example, out of the 200 PhDs that Sweden has supported, 65% of those are staff of University of Dar es Salaam. So you can see how University of Dar es Salaam has benefited, especially with my office, His Excellency, because my office of Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, I may say probably 50% of my operations, my financing comes from this program. So it is quite massive. But also one important thing to mention here in front of our guest of honor, University of Dar es Salaam, through its Vision 2061, intends or aspires to become a world-class research university. We are going there, guest of honor. And in order to become research university, this program actually contributes quite significantly to enable us to move towards becoming a research university by increasing the number of PhDs, academic staff with PhDs, because that's one of the requirements. You need at least 60% of your staff to have PhD for that university to be known as a research university. But also the number of graduates, PhD graduates, has also increased, partly because of this program. For example, in 2012, University of Dar es Salaam was producing only 12 PhDs per year. This was in 2012. In 2021, we are producing almost 100 PhDs per year. So you can see how far we have gone. Okay, having said so, Honorable Guest of Honor, I would like, first of all, to recognize three sets of groups. First of all, it's our graduates. Because this program, first and foremost, is about capacity building. And we tend to really become happy and we embrace our achievements when our PhD students and the master's students graduate. So today, I'm presenting before you so that you recognize their presence. They will not shake hands with you because of the situation. But at this time, allow me to invite in front of you here the graduates, our graduates, 31 graduates who are here, to get recognized by the guest of honor. So if you please stand and come forward. Naomba muongeze speed kidogo. You are new PhDs. You still, your blood is still boiling. Guest of honor, these are 31 PhD and master's students who have graduated either this year or last year, specializing in different specializations. For the benefit of time, I'm not going to read their names or their specializations. By the way, I can't even pronounce some of the PhD degrees that they have acquired. Some of them, they are so complicated. So could you please wave in front of the participants? Wave your hands. Congratulations. But also, turn towards the guest of honor. You guys, you are giving your back to the guest of honor. And wave. Before you leave, let me recognize one particular PhD graduate, because she has specialized in something that for the first time now we have in Tanzania. And probably in Africa, in the region. It is the first PhD degree. It is PhD in lichens, whatever that is. So she's known to be lichenologist. She's a lichenologist. And she's Dr. Stella Temu. Where is Dr. Stella Temu? Huh? Where did you do your PhD? Uppsala University. Now that's a $1 million question. And the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration is here. She's actually not employed yet. So the University of Dar es Salaam, I think, will be privileged to have her. as our member of staff. So the Honorable Guest of Honor, then I asked the principal investigator, who is a lycanologist, whatever that is. And she tried to make it simple for us to understand. She told me, this is a field of study that combines several disciplines, including mycology, phycology, microbiology, and botany. I think I've tried to make it simple. Or in Swahili, anajulikana kama mtaalamu wa kuvu kavu. So congratulations, na naomba muende mkakae. Yes, thank you very much. You can go to your seat, please.
Anaitwa nani nimesema?
Anaitwa Dr. Stella Tem. Could you please stay behind a little bit?
Hebu Stella.
Lycanologist.
Sasa unajua mkitualika sisi wanasiasa.
Mtaalamu wa kuvu kavu.
Sisi ni watu ku make decision. Kwa profesa mkataba aanze pati kusubiri serikalini. Mtamwachaje huyu binti? Mtampoteza huyu. Nani ni muhimu kabisa?
Thank you, Dr. Stella. Lycanologist. Secondly, Your Honor, I would like to recognize principal investigators who made all this possible, who supervised these students, but also who led the research teams. And here we have PIs from both University of Dar es Salaam and Swedish partner institutions. Some of them are following us through Zoom meeting. So I cannot call them to come here in front of you for the benefit of time, but wherever you are, all principal investigators, please stand up and wave. All PIs. And for those who are in Sweden, please unmute and say hi. But also, I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge very important contribution from International Science Program, ISP, Professor Beng, wherever he is. If he's online, then please wave. But also, I would like to recognize the supervisors. All the supervisors who are here in this room, please stand up and wave. Thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to bring before you, Honorable Guest of Honor, one lady whom we call Iron Lady. This lady is very special. She is the CEDA coordinator at the University of Dar es Salaam. She has demonstrated high commitment coordinating all these professors and doctors and all these researchers that you have seen. She may appear a little bit small. However, she's known for being pushy. But not pushy for no reason. Pushy for results and being pushy for deliverables. She calls everybody. She makes follow-up. She has no nonsense, kind of approach. And that's why she was calling you all the time, to make sure that you are coming to this meeting. She has actually contributed quite a lot to this program in terms of project management, leadership, but also using her specialization in accounting, because she has a PhD in accountants. She has actually helped quite a lot in enabling the University of Dar es Salaam getting clean audit reports all the time for this particular program. This is no one else but Dr. Latifa Mbelwa. Thank you very much for your work. And Dr. Latifa, they want to see you in front here. At the University of Dar es Salaam, some of them call her Mama Sida. Congratulations. Last but not least, we have, sometimes, Honorable Guest of Honor, when you are dealing with the development partners, Some of them can be rude, they can be arrogant, they can make your life miserable. But we have a country SIDA coordinator at the Swedish embassy. He's younger, much younger than me. However, when we discuss about this program, he has actually demonstrated high level of professionalism, high level of partnership, respect. So he has his own way of criticizing. Lakini mtu mzima unajua hapa nimeshapigwa. Just like, for example, from our 2-day meeting that we had on the steering committee, after that meeting we had a small chat. He said, let's go for a debriefing. And he had some, criticisms. But the way he was putting those criticisms, it made all of us comfortable. We took them positively, and we felt good about them. But sometimes it can be rough. So today, Honorable Guest of Honor, allow me to recognize in a very special way Mr. Johan Hellstrom. Who is a country SIDA coordinator at the Swedish Embassy. Thank you very much, Johan. I hope I'm getting your name right. Having said so, thank you very much, Honorable Guest of Honor, for your time. And at this point, may I wish to invite Professor David Finanga, Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration and Finance, to give a vote of thanks.
Honorable Minister of Industry and Trade, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, Member of Parliament, His Excellency Ambassador Anders Joberg, Ambassador of Sweden to Tanzania, Honorable Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Leonard Akulapo, who has just left, Honorable Members of Parliament and the House of Representatives, Vice Chancellor of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor William Manangise, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research of the University of Dar es Salaam, Professor Benedetta Kilian, senior government officials from various ministries and institutions, fellow researchers, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for attending our third University of Dar es Salaam Annual Research and Inclusive Development Conference. I stand here today before you to extend a vote of thanks on behalf of the University of Dar es Salaam for your resolute support and participation in this event. I would like to extend our deepest sense of appreciation to Honorable Professor Kitila Mkumbo, Minister of Industry and Trade, who is actually our fellow researcher, for finding time to grace this event. I must say, your speech, Honorable Minister, has challenged us to take the lead in upscaling contribution to scientific research, and as the DVC research has put it, we are going to take the challenge seriously. Honorable Minister, you have also opened new ways of canvassing synergy across sectors towards innovative and relevant solutions for sustainable development. We are thankful and grateful to you, Honorable Minister, for accepting to be here with us today despite your demanding schedule. Dear participants, our deepest appreciation and gratitudes are extended to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Her Excellency Honorable Samia Suluhu Hassan, for her exemplary leadership and in ushering in a new era as the first female President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan has set a new tone in favor of excellency, inclusiveness, and commitment to solving societal problems, which are key elements of sustainable and impactful research. We are blessed as a nation and university to be under Her Excellency's leadership. Dear participants, I would also like to convey our sincere gratitude to our long-time friends and strategic partners, the government of Sweden. for the ongoing support to the University of Dar es Salaam through the University of Dar es Salaam CEDA program. As the Honorable Minister has already said, you are a true friend. The University of Dar es Salaam CEDA program has provided important support to sustaining strategic research and innovation at the University of Dar es Salaam. We are very much thankful too to CEDA for sponsoring this conference. We could not have managed without your generous financial support. It is our hope that we will continue to cooperate in making this conference a reality for many years to come. Dear participants, much appreciation goes to all researchers for sharing their research findings through informative and thought-provoking policy briefs, which are a kind of ready-to-apply guidance. Your commitment to generating scientific-based solutions has a big impact on our society and the world. We really thank you for being in the forefront of solving societal and knowledge challenges. You have done your part as researchers. It is now up to stakeholders to make the best use of your findings. But where there is yet no uptake of your useful findings by the intended users, please keep bothering them until there is uptake. I also wish to express our appreciation to various stakeholders who have been working with sub-programs, including but not limited to TANESCO, Water Institute, Tanzania Business Women Association, Tanzania Horticulture Association, EURA, RUASA, TBS, Tanzania Tourist Board, Tanzania Association of Tour Operators, Hotel Association of Tanzania, Tourism Confederation of Tanzania, relevant ministries, district commissioners, district councils, and many individuals for their full support on complete commitment. Without your interest in the research that were carried out, the whole exercise would have been futile. Dear participants, we cannot thank everyone enough for their contribution to the realization of this event, but we don't forget our secretariat for organizing the event and making sure that everything is in order, which is quite a task. CEDA coordinator, Dr. Latifa Mbelwa, your impact has been acknowledged by the Honorable Minister and also by DVC Research. Please keep it up. I would also like to conclude by thanking the media personnel, the directors of ceremony, and the service providers for their service, commitment, and enthusiasm. We truly appreciate your contribution. Let me leave you with food for thought from a German American called Kurt Lewin, who lived in the period, imagine, 1890 to 1947. But what he said then, I think it still applies today. And he said, no research without action, and no action without research. And please remember to stay safe. COVID is still lurking around. Asanteni sana na karibuni, kazi iendelee.
Now we are almost coming to an end of the first session, but now we are ready for the memory session in terms of the group photo. But before we go into that, I'm made to understand that we have some guests in the room, of whom I would like to recognize their presence. We have representatives from the Ministry of Water. Ministry of Water. Okay. And then a representative from the Ministry of Energy. Oh, there you are. And also we have a representative from the Ministry of Land. Okay. Of course, Tourism, Ministry of Fisheries. Oh, fantastic. Okay, that's great. And also, we have the Director of Aquaculture, Minister of Livestock and Fisheries. Are you the one? Oh, great. Okay, that's good. Now, coming to this memorial session, we are going to have a few sessions I would like, first of all, to call on the government officials in the room. This is going to be the first group to have group photo with our guest of honor. Government officials, tunaomba mjiandae kuja kupiga picha na. Yes. Yes. So while that group is coming up here, we are going to have the second group. That is the high table, as well as members of parliament, as well as members of House of Representatives. Baada akitoka hapa mtakuja, please get ready for that. And while wabunge na wawakilishi, they will be getting ready, the next group will be for sister programs under SIDA. That includes ARU, COSTEC, UDZM, of course, Dr. Latifa, you'll be just coming for that. And also we should have YON. That is going to be the third group. So please get ready. Sister programs. Muwe tayari. After that, we are going to have a group photo with the principals, deans, and directors. Kindly get ready. So the next group, wabunge na wawakilishi. Sister programs, as well as University of Dar es Salaam, kindly also get ready. Dr. Latifa, Iron Led, seated at back. Please make sure that you come in front. Okay. Then, sister programs, COSTEC, ARU. Okay. And then principals, deans, and directors, kindly get ready. Okay. Directors, deans, and principals, please, wherever you are in the room. Then the next group will be for PIs and the co-PIs who are in the room. Yes, we have PIs and the co-PIs, Tanzania and Sweden. Please, you need to get ready for that. PIs and the core PIs, Tanzania and Sweden. In the list, of course, we have very organized group of graduates. They are just seated there, so you also need to get ready. This is a privilege of having a group photo with the guest of honor, whom I must admit, that's the voice of reason. And today, he was at his purest turn. PIs and the core PIs. Okay, graduates. Yeah, I'm sure you have energy, so you can easily run. Graduates, I'm not sure whether we have the members of local organizing committee in the room. If I know they are still very busy making sure that everything is working perfectly. Jamani, fanyeni haraka. So I'm advised that we need to have 2 groups of graduates. So that's the first group, and then you just wait, Shamalizik, and then you'll be joined. This is a privilege, to have a group photo with a guest of honor. The next group, please. Members of local organizing committee, not sure whether if they are around. Members of the local organizing committee, awapo. Kama awapo, I think Dr. Lulu. Okay. Okay, members, local organizing committee. Members, please. And a very special session and dedicated one is for directors of ceremonies, myself and Dr. Lulu. Guest of honor, now this item marks the end of the opening session. Dear participants, can we give guest of honor and all the speakers of this first session a warm round of applause? Our hand together again to you participants for your attention. Last but not least, but at least we have been able to manage this event very well. Myself and thank you very much. So it's time that we need to allow the guest of honor to get out of the room. While he's just making his way, please let us stand up. Tumpigie makofi. So the next session is going to be these breakout sessions, plenary, and you have the conference program. We strongly encourage you to go through it so that at least you are able to locate the venue where you think you can comfortably contribute in a respective sub-theme. Having said that, you are all invited for coffee tea break, which I'm told that is served outside. Karibuni sana. Thank you very much.